Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another story for you. This one is apparently a wild one, per Candy Thunder. Title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for Not Accepting a Dozen Roses from My Husband After My Surgery? Well, there's a good enough reason behind that to write a Reddit story about, so I'm going to go NTA. I had to have a lumpectomy on one of my breasts due to cancer. My husband took me to the hospital for the procedure and left to go run errands. I had never had this procedure done before, and finding out that I had cancer was a scary thing. He said he would be right back while they were prepping me for surgery. Once I was ready and waiting to go into surgery, the nurse asked if I wanted my husband to come sit with me until it was time to go. I said yes, but she came back and said that she couldn't find him. Boop. Red flag mode activated. I sat in the room by myself for an hour, and he still did not show. I went into surgery without any reassurance from him. No kiss on the cheek with an I love you or everything will be okay. It was such a lonely feeling, and I was wishing that I had brought my mom with me instead.
He's an asshole.
Well, yeah.
Already.
He made the choice to not be your person. Right then. The procedure was done within an hour, and I was in the recovery room. Once my anesthesia wore off, I was awake and realized my husband still had not returned. At this point, I was really getting worried. The nurse said he wasn't answering his phone. She seemed irritated that he wasn't there. The nurse is irritated, like, on behalf of you here. The nurse went on to give me post-surgery directions, which I was only half listening to because I was still kind of out of it, plus with my increasing worry of where the hell my husband was. The nurse comes in after a half hour and says, Sweetie, we're still trying to call him, but if he doesn't get here soon, you won't be able to leave. There's a big storm coming in, and this wing will be on lockdown until the storm passes. I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. I just wanted to go home. 10 more minutes go by, and he waltzes in with a dozen roses, like he was the most thoughtful husband ever. When I asked where he was, he told me he was at the bar because he was hungry for one of their delicious burgers. I told him that I had been waiting alone throughout the whole ordeal and that he should have been there for me. He said he was sorry and held out the roses. I told him he could take the roses and shove it, and that I was never having him come with me during a medical procedure ever again because he sucked. I was getting part of my breast removed while he had a tasty burger and a beer. What the hell? Tears streamed down my face the entire ride home. There's an update. Let's talk about it for a minute, though. Like, girly, right now, you're like, I am never bringing you to an important surgery again. I'm like, that's the extent of the punishment here? That's the extent of the boundary? That's the extent of the action that you're willing to take because he brozoed this hard? Speaking of, let's go ahead and do that. Bop, bop, bop. Brozo. By the by, the fact that he showed up with roses means he knew it was wrong. He knew it. I don't want to say divorce. Like, I don't want that to be a knee-jerk reaction here, but divorce. He chose not to be your person. That's it. He chose not to be your person. And I'm going to go run a couple errands. I'll be right back. You were already asked on one for that, bro. This is not the time to run errands. To find out that that errand was wolfing down a burger and a beer while you watched a game next to your bar buddies. I don't think it was a burger and a beer. Like, hey, who gets the cheater vibe here? Who gets the cheater vibe? Oh, no. Here is the update. This is a story that happened in 2010 to me. Update is that now I have had cancer twice. Both breasts now instead of one, but I beat it and I am now cancer-free. As for my husband, I found out that he was a drug addict. Tried to help him in his recovery journey and to be the good supportive wife. I didn't want my marriage to fail, and of course we have 2 kids as well. At one time he was a great guy, but addiction changes people. Okay. Well, it's not the cheater thing, at least yet. And one day I woke up and realized I was doing more to fight the addiction than he was. Once you can't trust the person that was supposed to be your soulmate, the hard truth is that you have to move on to protect yourself and your family from the downward spiral. Addiction will suck whatever love you had for that person right out of you. I know I tried to help him and did all that I could, so I have no regrets. I filed for divorce a couple of years ago, and the divorce will be final next month. Fingers crossed that all goes well. This was just one story, and there are others that are worse. He never physically hurt me, but the damage was done with abandonment and emotional abuse. I am luckily a very strong individual, but I know that doesn't mean I deserved any of this. I thought I married the man I would be with until I was old. We had a good life together until his choices changed that. I'm better off now, and he is the one who lost everything. He had all the tools he needed to help him fight his addictions, and he failed. I am much stronger than he could ever wish to be. So he was at the bar, and he did have a burger, but was also doing the white powdery kind. I eventually found out that he was hiding it. Fast forward to now, where multiple rehabs were not successful when an addict wants to throw their life away. Divorce will be final next month, and I know I did everything I could to save him from himself and save our marriage, but it takes two to save a marriage, and I could not do that alone. Well, there's a curveball. There's a curveball. I did not see that. Did not see that coming. Awesome Pets, Addicts, and he had hidden it, I guess, decently well at this point, because she didn't find out till later that he was an addict. And yeah, I mean, it was either the cheater or the addict vibe. I should have picked up on this because it creates very out of character behavior or illogical choices, right? It's like, that's not the time for that. Yeah, okay. It would only feel like the impulsive time for that if there was some kind of addiction, I guess. And the cheating would probably fall right in line with that too. OP did the best thing for herself and her kids, 100%. And to be able to look back and say that with that kind of confidence and say, I know that I did everything I could. There's got to be some closure there. But damn, you can't help but pity everyone involved, right? Because they're still reeling from the effects of this. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Wonder what kind of plant was in that burger. I know, like, yeah, addiction's way more prevalent than we realize, right? Because addicts are good at hiding it, at least for a while. So, and having to deal with it, I think everybody, at least, well, the majority of people have probably, had a family member or somebody in their life who has been in that role in one way, shape, or another, and the kind of toxicity that comes along with that, the kind of turbulence that comes along with that. It is, it's not easy. Not easy. He had Coke with his burger, not cola. Yeah, that was his beverage of choice. That was his beverage of choice. The question was, am I the astronaut for not accepting a dozen roses from my husband after surgery? Confirmed. NTA. I want to say, like, this guy was fighting his demons and lost, but he didn't fight them at all. Willingly. Like, I think if you're to the point where you're dropping you're supposed to be your wife's person at the hospital that day for a scary thing, and you just disappear to go dance with your demons, then you're not fighting in them at all. You're accepting them in, right?